It happens again like clockwork. You're sitting across from someone, maybe a partner, maybe a friend you've known since childhood, maybe a family member who always seems to be in crisis. The air in the room feels heavy, almost suffocating. You're watching them fall apart. Again, they're telling you about their chaos, their bad decisions, their financial ruin, the toxic relationship they swore they would leave but went back to, their emotional storms. And as you listen, you feel a familiar electric sensation rising in your chest. It isn't just empathy, it is something active, something magnetic. It is an urge that feels almost like a biological imperative, an itch beneath your skin that you simply must scratch. Your brain instantly switches into what I call architect mode. You stop listening to understand and you start listening to dismantle and rebuild. You start scanning for solutions, you start drafting blueprints in your head. The internal monologue begins. If I just lend them this money, they can pay rent. If I write this email for them, they won't get fired. If I just listen for 3 more hours, maybe they will finally understand their worth. You offer your time, hours of it. You offer your resources, money you were saving for yourself. You offer your emotional sanity. You think to yourself, if I just love them enough, I can heal them. If I just try harder, I can fix this. Welcome to the secret life of the fixer, the savior, the one who turns their heart into a rehabilitation center for broken souls. If you are listening to this, chances are this isn't a one-time event. This is the soundtrack of your entire life. You don't just end up in relationships with people who need rescuing. You actively, subconsciously seek them out. Or rather, they seek you out, like a heat-seeking missile finding a heat source. And you open the door wide, you invite them in, you make them tea, you hand them the hammer to break your walls. You're the person who sees potential where everyone else sees danger. When someone shows you their red flags, you don't run, you don't protect yourself. You think, I can paint those flags white. I can love the red out of them. You are the person who stays when everyone else leaves. You are the designated driver of other people's lives. You are the person who believes, with a tragic arrogance, that your love is the magic ingredient, the philosopher's stone that will finally turn someone else's leaden chaos into gold. But let me ask you a question, and I need you to be brutally, painfully honest with yourself right now. Put down your defenses. Look in the mirror. How tired are you? I don't mean sleepy. I don't mean the kind of tired that a nap can fix. I mean soul tired, bone-deep exhaustion. I mean the kind of fatigue that comes from carrying a backpack full of rocks that don't belong to you, up a mountain that you didn't choose to climb. Because the tragedy of the Savior is not that they don't care enough. It is that they care for the wrong reasons. You're pouring yourself into a cup that has a hole in the bottom. You're trying to fill a void in someone else that implies a structural defect only they can repair. You're throwing your own happiness into a black hole, hoping that eventually the black hole will fill up and shine light back on you. But that is not how physics works. And that is not how people work. And while you're busy fixing them, while you're managing their crises, editing their resumes, soothing their anxieties, who is looking at you? Who is holding the space for your chaos? Who is fixing you? Usually, the answer is no one. Because you have taught the world that you don't need fixing. You have taught them that you are the generator, not the battery. You have perfected the art of appearing invincible, so you cannot blame them for believing the performance. In the next 30 minutes, we are going to dismantle this pattern down to the studs. We aren't just going to talk about being nice, we are going to look at the dark psychology behind why you are addicted to fixing people. We are going to talk about the arrogance of help, the hidden control in kindness, and the childhood wound that turned you into a mechanic of human emotions. This isn't going to be easy to hear. It might make you angry, it might make you cry, it might make you want to turn this video off. But if you want to stop drowning, in other people's storms. Staying here is necessary. No one is born a savior. A savior is forged, usually in the fires of a childhood where the roles were reversed. Let's go back in time. Let's look at the architecture of your early years. To become a pathological helper, you first had to learn one crucial, devastating lesson: that your worth is tied to your utility. Maybe you had a parent who was emotionally unstable, an addict, a narcissist, or perhaps just deeply, clinically depressed. Or maybe they were simply immature, adults who never quite grew up themselves, forcing you to grow up in their place. As a child, you looked at this giant, powerful figure, your parent, and you saw something terrifying. You saw that they were broken. For a child, a broken parent is a threat to survival. It is primal terror. If the captain of the ship is unconscious, the ship sinks and you drown. A child cannot simply pack their bags and leave. A child cannot file for divorce from their parents. So what did you do to survive? You took the wheel. You learned to soothe them. You became a master of nonverbal communication. You learned to gauge the temperature of the room by the sound of a closing door, by the heaviness of a footstep, by the specific comments in the kitchen. You learned to hide your own needs so you wouldn't add to their burden. You told yourself, I will be low maintenance, I will be easy, I will be weightless. You learned to fix the atmosphere of the house. If mum is sad, I will be funny to cheer her up. If dad is angry, I will be invisible to prevent an explosion. If there is chaos, I will be the order. You learned that the only way to get attention, the only way to get a scrap of love or acknowledgement, was to be useful, to be the solution. Love became transactional. I give, therefore I am. And here's the hook that keeps you trapped today. It felt good. It felt empowering. In a chaotic, scary home, being the helper gave you a sense of agency. It gave you control over the uncontrollable. It gave you an identity. You weren't just a helpless, scared child. You were the good one, the strong one, the one who understands. This created a massive dopamine loop in your developing brain. Crisis occurs. I step in to fix it. I reduce the tension. I feel valuable. I feel safe. Fast forward at 20 years. That child is gone, but the wiring remains. It is burned into your nervous system like a circuit board. You walk into the world and your nervous system is actually bored by stability. This is the part that explains your romantic life. When you meet someone who is stable, consistent and kind, someone who calls when they say they will, someone who pays their own bills, someone who regulates their own emotions, you don't feel a spark. You feel nothing. You feel bored. Why? Because stable people don't need you to fix them. Stable people can handle their own emotions, and if they can handle themselves, what is your role? If you aren't fixing, do you even exist? Your brain interprets peace as lack of chemistry. Because for you, love has always been defined by anxiety. It has always been defined by work. So you bypass the healthy partners, you ignore the safe options, and you gravitate like a moth to a flame toward the broken ones. The ones with potential, the mysterious ones. The ones who carry a darkness that looks familiar. The ones who remind you of the parent you couldn't save. You tell yourself it's because you're empathetic, and you are, but there is a shadow underneath that empathy. You're drawn to them because their brokenness provides a job opening for your trauma. They need saving, and you need to save. It is a perfect, disastrous match. This is what psychologists call a trauma bond. It is not love, it is a reenactment. You're subconsciously trying to heal your parent by healing your partner. You're trying to win the game you lost in childhood. You think, if I can just fix this person, if I can make them happy, then finally I will have won. Finally I will be enough. But you couldn't save your parents then, and you cannot save your partner now. You're replaying a script that was written before you were born, hoping for a different ending that never comes. Now we enter the most uncomfortable part of this psychology. This is the part that usually makes people turn off the video because it hurts to admit. It requires looking into a mirror that doesn't show your best angle. But I ask you to stay. We like to think of our helping as selfless. As pure white light altruism, we wear our sacrifice like a badge of honor. We complain to our friends about how much we do for everyone else, secretly enjoying the validation of being a martyr. But if we peel back the layers, is it really selfless? Or is it something else? Is it perhaps a form of control? When you consistently try to fix someone, when you offer unsolicited advice, when you manage their life because they can't do it themselves, when you pay their debts or lie to cover their mistakes, what are you actually saying to them? You're sending a very clear, subconscious message. You're saying, I know better than you. You're incompetent. You cannot handle your own reality without me. There is a hidden arrogance in the savior complex. Some psychologists even call it a mild God complex. It is a way of establishing hierarchy in a relationship. As long as I am the one fixing you, I am the one in control. I am the strong one. You are the weak one. I am the parent. You are the child. I am the doctor. You are the patient. This dynamic protects you. It keeps you safe from true vulnerability. As long as you are focused on their mess, you never have to look at your own. You use their problems as a shield to avoid facing your own emptiness. Intimacy requires equality, and you cannot be equal with someone you're trying to save. This is why many saviors subconsciously sabotage their partner's recovery. Have you ever noticed that when the person you are fixing actually starts to get better on their own, when they start making good decisions without you, you feel a sudden pang of anxiety. You feel useless, maybe even a little resentful. You might say things like, "Are you sure you're ready for that?" Or, "Let me just handle it for you one last time." Why? Because if they get better, they might leave. If they become whole, they won't need your crutch anymore. And if they don't need your crutch, you're left alone. The contract is broken. This is codependency in its purest form. The addict is addicted to the substance, the savior is addicted to the addict. You need their problem to feel like a solution. You essentially become an enabler. Let's talk about enabling. By shielding them from the consequences of their actions, you're robbing them of the most important teacher in life. Consequence. Pain is a teacher. Failure is data. Rock bottom is a foundation. When you intervene to stop their pain, you interrupt their lesson. You aren't saving them, you're stealing their growth. You're keeping them stuck in a state of permanent childhood, just so you can keep playing the role of the necessary parent. Think about a butterfly struggling to get out of a chrysalis. If you use scissors to cut the chrysalis open to help it, the butterfly will die. It needs the struggle to pump fluid into its wings so it can fly. By removing the struggle, you remove their capacity to fly. It is a hard truth. Sometimes the most loving thing you can do is let someone fall. Let them crash. Let them face the wreckage of their own life without your cushion. Let them sit in the mess they made, because until they face the wreckage, they will never decide to build. And until you stop being the cushion, you'll never realize that you deserve to be more than just a soft place for others to land. You deserve to be met, not just needed. So what happens when you pour from an empty cup for years? What happens when the person you're trying to fix refuses to be fixed? Or worse, what happens when they take your help for granted, viewing it not as a gift, but as a baseline expectation? You don't just get tired, you get bitter. This is the inevitable toxic final stage of the savior complex, the martyrdom. It starts slowly, almost imperceptibly. You begin to keep a mental scoreboard. You tally up every sacrifice, every late-night crisis call you answered when you were sleeping, every dollar you lent that they never mentioned again, every time you swallowed your own feelings to manage their storm. You look at the ledger in your mind and the math is horrifying. You see that you have invested $1 million worth of love, patience, and labour, and you've received pennies in return, and you look at them, maybe sleeping peacefully while you're awake with anxiety about their life, and a dark, poisonous thought enters your mind. After everything I did for you, is this how you repay me? Resentment. That is the specific emotion that tells you you're overgiving. Resentment is not a sign that they are monsters. It is a flashing red light on your emotional dashboard telling you that you have betrayed your own boundaries. You've abandoned yourself, and now you are mad at them for not rescuing you from your own sacrifice. But here is the trap. The martyr loves their resentment. It becomes addictive. Why? Because resentment feels like power. In a relationship where you feel powerless, resentment gives you the high ground. It feels like moral superiority. As long as you are the victim of your own kindness, you remain the good guy. You are the saint suffering for the sinner. You get to tell your friends, I try so hard, but he just doesn't change. And you get to sigh and look at the ceiling. It becomes your identity. You become the one who suffers beautifully. And this is where the relationship turns truly toxic. You start using your help as leverage. You weaponize your care. You might not say it out loud, but your energy screams, I own you because I saved you. In psychology, we call this a covert contract. You signed a contract in your head that said, I will see you, I will clean up your mess, I will be your parent, and in return you will be exactly who I want you to be. You will stop drinking, you will love me, you will never leave me. But here is the tragedy. The other person never signed that contract. They didn't even see it. They didn't know the help came with a price tag attached to their soul. They thought you were helping because you wanted to, not because you were buying stock in their future behaviour. And the person you're fixing feels this. Even if you never say a word, they feel the weight of your unspoken expectation. They feel the debt accumulating like a heavy chain around their neck. And eventually, they will resent you back. They will fight for their freedom. They will pull away to regain their autonomy. And when they leave, or when they lash out, you will sit in the wreckage, vindicated in your pain, and say, see, I gave everything and everyone leaves me. I am cursed. But they didn't leave because you helped. They left because your help became a cage. They left because they couldn't breathe under the weight of your sacrifice. Now, let's turn the camera around. Let's stop looking at them and look at the terrifying reason why you do this. Let's look at the ghost haunting your own house. I want you to imagine, just for a moment, a different reality. Close your eyes if you need to. Imagine that everyone in your life is fine. Imagine your partner is stable, boring, and happy. They pay their own bills. They regulate their own emotions. Your friends are functional. Your family needs nothing from you. No one is calling you in crisis. No one needs your advice. No one needs your money. Your phone sits on the table, completely silent for days. What do you feel in that silence? If you are brutally honest, you probably don't feel peace, or you feel anxiety. You feel a creeping sense of panic rising in your throat. You might even feel this, invisible. Or worse, useless. This is the core of the savior wound. You're addicted to other people's chaos because it distracts you from your own emptiness. It is the ultimate avoidance strategy. If you're busy running their life, you don't have to look at yours. If you're focusing on their trauma, you don't have to feel your own. If you're angry at them, you don't have to be angry at yourself for wasting your life. Their noise is the drug that drowns out your silence. Many saviors suffer from what we call flight into doing. You cannot sit still with yourself because you are running from a deep internal sense of unworthiness. Somewhere along the line, you internalized a lie. I am not enough, just as I am. You believe you have to pay rent for your existence on this planet. You believe love is not a gift, but a salary that you must earn through labor. And the currency you pay with is service. You're terrified, absolutely terrified, that if you stop being useful, people will realize the truth, that you're boring, or flawed, or simply not special. You fear that if you strip away the helper identity, the saint identity, there is nothing underneath worth loving. So you find broken people to act as mirrors that reflect a version of you that is strong, capable, and necessary. Look at me, you think. I am the one who holds it together. But it is a distraction. You're using them. You're using their pain to prop up your fragile self-esteem. You need them to be broken so you can feel whole. Think about that. It is a painful realization. You might be keeping them sick subconsciously because their sickness makes you feel like the doctor. Until you face this void, until you learn to sit alone in a quiet room and feel worthy without doing a single thing for anyone else, you will keep attracting chaos. You will keep inviting vampires into your home simply because you are desperate to be the one holding the blood bag. Because as long as they are feeding on you, they cannot leave you. So how do we stop? How do we retire from the job of general manager of the universe? How do we break an addiction that feels so much like love? The answer lies in a powerful spiritual concept used in recovery circles called detachment with love. Detachment sounds cold to the savior. It sounds like abandonment, but it is actually the highest form of respect you can offer another human being. Detachment means you separate your emotions from their choices. It means you accept a hard truth. You're not powerful enough to save anyone. You're not God. You are not their creator, and you're not responsible for their fate. You can offer support, but you cannot carry the load. You can light the path, but you cannot walk it for them. You cannot learn their lessons for them. This requires a radical shift in how you define empathy. Toxic empathy, or pity, says, "I feel your pain, you poor thing, so I must fix it immediately to make us both feel better." Healthy empathy says, "I see your pain, I know it hurts, and I trust that you have the strength, the resilience, and the capacity to navigate it." Do you hear the difference? The second one is empowering. It gives them back their dignity. It says, "I believe in you enough to let you figure this out." When you stop fixing, you create a vacuum. And yes, it is terrifying. They might fall, they might fail, they might hit rock bottom. But rock bottom is often the only solid foundation upon which people build their new lives. By preventing them from hitting it, by constantly putting a pillow under them, you're preventing them from building. You're stealing their hero's journey. You have to let go of the outcome. You have to love them enough to let them struggle. And finally, you have to turn that massive, relentless, beautiful energy back toward the only person you can actually save, yourself. You've spent a lifetime being the gardener for everyone else's soil, watering their weeds, worrying about their harvest while your own garden has turned to dust. It's time to turn the hose around. It isn't selfish, it is survival. Imagine if you treated yourself with the same obsession you treat them. Imagine if you tried to save yourself with that same intensity. Imagine if you listened to your own needs with that same attention. Because the world doesn't need more martyrs. It doesn't need more exhausted saviors burning out in silence, resentful and drained. The world needs people who are whole, people who are full. When you fill your own cup, when you heal your own wound, you don't help others because you need to be needed. You help them because you want to. From the overflow. And that is the only help that truly heals. Put down the tools, step away from the project. You are not a rehabilitation center for broken souls, you are a person. And you deserve to be loved, not for what you fix, not for what you provide, not for the utility you offer, but simply for who you are. Even when you are useless, even when you are tired, even when you have nothing to give, take a deep breath. You are released from your duty, you are allowed to just be.